Today's segment is on getting mortgages, and whether that's having to do with refinances or home purchase mortgages. Some of the pitfalls and the words to the wise happen to apply to both. In case somebody forwarded you this video, my name is Michael Bunch, and I'm the president of the Bunch Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Realty First Atlanta. And I'm here to talk to you about basically how things went last week for some of the people that we were involved in. First case was a couple good friends of ours who had a friend that they were kind of in the middle of the road process with a refinance, and we just happened to be going out to dinner with them, and they were kind of embarrassingly sharing with us some of their frustrations in the process and kind of how things were. And so the interesting thing, the scary thing for me is that they had a well-meaning friend who worked for a big bank that was probably giving them the normal, fair, and honest deal that that bank was offering, and ultimately they kept hitting roadblocks. When we kind of dug into it a little bit further, turns out that they were going to end up having to pay or absorb or add to the mortgage balances about $13,000 in closing costs. So basically this couple had a first mortgage, a second mortgage, and they were trying to roll all of those in and refinance into one mortgage at one interest rate, and they just assumed that there are customary closing costs associated with doing that process. Well, what happened was the appraisal came back lower than expected. What that meant was that they could not roll both of those loans together, but the good news, according to the bank, was that they would be able to at least refinance the first mortgage. It's still going to cost probably on the order of $10,000 to $12,000, and they would end up getting an interest rate of about 4.6. We offered to connect them with one of our top lenders, and basically the scenario was they closed last Thursday. She was almost in tears, the wife of the couple that we know, and it was a huge success story because our mortgage professional was able to get them into a situation where they actually rolled both loans into one new loan. Instead of being 4.6%, it was 4.1%. That 4.1% rate included all of the closing costs and escrows rolled in. So in fact, there were zero closing costs instead of $13,000 worth of closing costs. The loan balances did not go up, maybe marginally, 1,000 or so, but still, even if the loan balances went up by 1,000 or so, the fact that they didn't have to come up with $13,000 or add that 13 to the loan balances was huge. So cut their closing costs basically to zero, kept the loan balances pretty much where they were, and lowered their rate from whatever they had, which was pretty high because they had some damaged credit and they were still kind of in the hangover from that. But still, competitively, lender to lender in today's market, they got 0.5% better with our guy than with the big bank scenario that they were talking to. So ultimately, huge success all the way around. And they're actually going to get a refund from the escrow account that they had on their first mortgage from the previous loan. So they'll actually end up with some money in their pocket, a much lower interest rate, all because we could take a look at the scenario they were being offered and see that there just had to be a better deal out there. So what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is I would go to a professional before I relied on a friend who was a part of a large organization, because with that large organization comes typically a conservative culture, a lot of overlays, and bureaucracy, and that bureaucracy costs money. We connected them with a small, nimble lender that had a lower cost structure, overhead-wise, and they got a much better deal. And I mean, literally, that would have been a tragedy for them to pay that much. So, sorry for the long tape. Didn't get to the other processes, but essentially, we had somebody with this same lender rave about them, and they ended up getting quoted for a purchase with much better terms. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you are looking to refinance or to buy a new property, make sure you talk to your real estate professional and get a couple of their top lenders. Make sure that they're doing enough business so that they can kind of cycle through their starting rotation, and make sure that the lenders that they are using are ones that they have tested and are currently using and that are currently doing a great job, because there are thousands at stake. And this is an example of, I can't even imagine, had they gone down that scenario, it would have been such a waste. So food for thought going into this month, because the rules are about to change on October 3rd. And if you have questions and want to reach out and talk to us directly, please email us at michael@bunchrealestategroup.com or call us at 404-939-3202. We would love to talk to you and connect you to some of the top team members that we work with, and they may can save you a ton of money as well. Take care, and we'll see you soon.